Um, Good afternoon, champions. I call you champions because a lot of you that aren't here have been with us for some time. And I just want to say, like, if you've been here all 8 weeks, which I know Chad has, I know Chad because Chad and I connect, and I think Lucia has been. Um, I see you guys. I respect you, and most importantly, you're proving that you're committed to becoming the person it takes to create the exact life you want. And I want you to take a second and look. And I want you to look around. Whether you're here live or you're catching this on replay down the road, you made it. You didn't make it to the finish line, but you made it to the threshold of something greater than you've seen before. Life is all about that consistency that I've talked about before. This plan that I've executed in my own life, and hopefully that you will execute in yours, it's not just a business strategy. I call it a life recalibration. I knew when I started, going down this road of success, that if I was going to get the success that I want in my life, I needed to recalibrate things. I need to really look within. I need to look in the mirror and see what I needed to work on. And in that recalibration, it was a cause for me to rise, a challenge for me to move with purpose. I went through something back in 2014, a personal experience in my life that um, when I was going through it, I had no idea. And I just was saying to myself over and over and over again, why me? Like, why me? Why is this happening to me? And I'll tell you a really, really, really quick story about this. I don't drink, I don't do drugs, um, and I couldn't sleep. And I went to the doctor and they prescribed Xanax to me to go to sleep at night. And 45 days after taking the Xanax to go to sleep at night, my body was dependent on Xanax. And I had never done a drug in my life. And it really took a year of my life away from me to get normalized again. And I just kept asking myself, why? And this was a huge recalibration in my life. And once I figured out afterwards why it was because I needed a kick in the you know what. I was really successful, I was doing really well, but I was comfortable. And there was more. God had more for me. The universe had for me. I had more in me to give. And I was just comfortable where I was at. Highly successful, a lot of money, but I wasn't doing my greater call, my greater purpose. And it was a cause for me to rise. There was that challenge for me to move with purpose, to trade in distraction for discipline. I was distracted. Yeah, I was successful. I had a great business and businesses, but I was distracted by things that weren't really paying any dividends to anybody else besides myself. And so I decided to get disciplined. And that's where this book came from. All of that, the reason that all that happened to me was so that I could help other people. I could write a book and I could change my life and I could be the father and the husband that I am today. And it helped me get serious about the things that I love and about the people I love. And that's what I want to help you guys do. I want you to get serious about the business of building your legacy. Now, legacy is not just money. Legacy is what you leave people with, what you leave your kids with, and what your kids can leave people with. As saying my father, my grandfather, all of those things. That's what I want to leave. I want to leave this earth with leaving those types of things with my kids. And this is the first step in that. This training wasn't about checking a box. Now, a lot of us, me included, I like to check boxes. I went through this, I did this, but it's not about checking boxes. I wanted this to be about a transformation, internally and externally, mental, emotional, and financial. All of you that are here today or that are watching this on the replay, you showed up for a reason. You guys committed to becoming the person who no longer makes excuses, but you're going to make moves. You're going to make massive action moves. So this is your recap, your reminder, your reset, a blueprint built on 10 non-negotiables that if you guys master them like I have, it will change the entire trajectory of your life and your business forever. I promise. I'm telling you, this changed me as a human being. And like I told you guys at the beginning of this, none of this I invented, you guys. None of it. I stole this from every single mentor that I've had, every book that I've read, and this is what I came up with. This is my playbook that's created success for me in my life. Remember, number one, we talked about define your why. We started with the most important foundation, your why, not someone else's why. Because without a strong why, the how doesn't even matter. I haven't talked about how to build your LifeWave business this whole 8 weeks that we've been together. Because if you don't have a strong way, you're going to quit. When it gets tough, you're going to shrink down, or you're going to start to blame everyone else except for you. But when you have your why dialed in deep in your soul, it becomes your anchor on the hard days and your fuel on the good ones. I challenge you to make it emotional, not just money, not just freedom, but who are you fighting for? Who loses if you don't win? Excuse me. Who loses if you don't win? Your kids, your family, your husband, your church? Your why is the root system of your life tree. Without it, I promise you, you will collapse under pressure because there's constant pressure. And the way I look at pressure for me is a saying that I've heard, pressure is a privilege. When you have pressure, it's a privilege to have that pressure. It's not a hindrance in your life. With it, you'll thrive in chaos. Your why isn't just about what you want. It's about who you are becoming along the way. It's about the people who benefit when you win. It's about the pain you've decided to no longer accept in your life. Pain is self-induced. No one should be able to create pain in you. No one. It's about becoming the protector of your future, not a prisoner of your past. So many people are in prison of their past, of the decisions that they made, or what they did or what they didn't do. When you truly lock in on your why, the distractions, I promise, will start to shrink. The fear in your life will start to lose power. And then you become unshakable. That's when you start to rise. That's why it's the first thing. Then we talked about defining your success snowflake. We talked about how success is personal. Your success is not my success. Mine isn't yours. It's your unique blueprint, but you got to know exactly what it means to you. You got to know where you're going. Most people don't get what they want because they don't know exactly what they want. You need to know what lifestyle Snowflake is for you, what impact Snowflake is for you, income Snowflake, legacy Snowflake. And they all have to feel very meaningful to you. Without this clarity, you'll end up chasing someone else's dream. Could be someone on television, you're like, man, I wish I was a professional basketball player. I wish I was a professional golfer. Maybe your neighbor that's driving a nicer car than you. Doesn't matter what they're doing. Dial in on yours. We made sure that your vision wasn't based on comparison, but based on conviction. It's a huge difference, you guys. Huge, huge difference. My father always used to say to me, do you want to be like the Joneses? And now that means more to me than it did when I was younger. Because back then I was like, yes, I do want to be like the Joneses. I want Nikes. I want Jordache jeans. I want Levi's jeans. For some of you on here that don't know what Jordashes is, you're just way too young. Jordashes used to be the most popular jean back in the 80s, and everybody coveted having them. But I had Rustler jeans from Kmart. That was my jean. Because we weren't like the Joneses. We didn't have money. But your success must be yours. Not your uplines, not your mentors, not the influencers on Instagram. It has to be authentic. We call it a success snowflake because it's personal, unique, and detailed. What does your dream day look like? What type of impact do you want to leave? What kind of income lets you breathe and give and live fully? This part isn't optional, you guys. It's your GPS. Without this, you're driving with a blindfold on. Then we talk about core values, being your internal compass, your decision-making machine. Because when you define what you stand for, decisions will become so much easier. You'll stop chasing everything and you'll start aligning with what matters. That's the problem with most people that have success. They're always chasing something different or something that they think other people think they should chase. This is how you build a brand. A brand that is rooted in authenticity. People trust people who live in their values and they don't ever sacrifice them for anything. You want to build trust? Let people see that. Not just speak them, but actually live them. Your values are your internal CEO. They make all the decisions. They guide you on every single decision because there's going to be a lot of things that are going to feel foggy. And when you go back to those core values, you have them. You know what the decision is. Are you going to stick to it? When you move with those aligned values, you guys, you move a lot faster. You move with more certainty. You stop compromising for acceptance. You stop selling out for short-term gain. We dug deep in to uncover what actually matters to you. Family, excellence, freedom, faith, health, service, whatever it is, we are committed to making decisions that serve those values instead of sacrificing them. And then number four, we talked about recruiting accountability partners. I hope some of you got together and are accountability partners. Success is built in community, you guys. I am a huge, huge collaborator. I love to partner and collaborate with people. My wife's always, hey, why do you feel like you have to partner with people? I don't feel like I have to partner with people. It's just better. Community is better. This community is better. I challenge you to build a circle that calls you out when you need to be called out, and they'll call you up. You can't do this alone, you guys. You need people in your corner who will push you, challenge you, and remind you who the heck you are when life tries to make you forget. We've been trying to take the shoes off in our house for 5 years, and it never happens. And the other day, I just told my wife, if you see me with my shoes on, call me out. And today, I came back from my walk, and she called me out. And my first thing was excuses. But I was just walking there. I'm getting ready to leave. And she was like, but if you're telling me I can call you out, am I going to be able to call you out? And I was like, you know what? You're right. And that's the permission you have to give people because you want people that are going to challenge you. You want that. This wasn't about finding cheerleaders in your life. It was about finding co-warriors, people who will respect you enough to let them call you out when you're slacking. We don't need cheerleaders. We need allies. People who remind you of your standard when you're slipping, because we're all going to slip, you guys. Partners who know your goals and they won't let you play small. This isn't accountability out of guilt. This is accountability out of a vision, out of love, out of the deep desire to become your best and help others do the same. That's what you need to explain to accountability partners when you enroll them. This is what I want. And then number five, we talked about making the daily decision every single day, not just once, every day you wake up, that conversation you have with yourself, to do the work when you don't feel like it. Motivation is a myth, you guys. What matters is consistency, discipline, and repetition. I reminded you your life today is a byproduct of the decisions that you made consistently, not occasionally. Every single day you wake up with two choices. Can I drift today or am I going to decide today? And we talked about how discipline is a decision, not a feeling. Because every day you're not going to feel like being disciplined. Every day you're going to feel like it. And greatness is forged in those daily, unseen decisions that no one is watching you and just you making the decision to do it because you've decided, not because you're trying to impress someone else. Because some days you're going to feel tired, you're going to feel uninspired, you're going to be very unmotivated. But if your why is strong enough, you'll show up anyway. And those are the days that build character. They're going to build resilience. They're going to create that momentum and that impetus in your life that is going to drive you where you got to go. And then we talked about having a morning and night routine. We got into the practical routines. I shared my own: sunlight, grounding, meditation, journaling, gratitude, reading. walking, family time, turning off my phone at 7. Not because they're just cute little habits, because they prime your energy. I was talking to a brand partner the other day. We were talking about just wellness and health and all these things. And he said to me, he said, what did you do in the morning? I told him, he's like, dude, that's awesome. I've been trying to do that for a year. What do you mean you've been trying to do it for a year? Just do it. Yeah, but I got this and I got that. And I'm like, no, man, just do it. Just make it happen. It's going to change your life. And he called me 2 days ago and he was like, dude, yeah, man, I'm so glad we had that conversation. My entire vibration and energy is changing life. Everything is changing before my eyes right now. I can't believe I've waited this long to do it because they will create and stack your vibration so high that you'll walk into your day like a secret weapon. People are going to see the change. You got to protect the first and the last 60 minutes of your day like your life depends on it because I'm telling you guys, it does. These things program your frequency before the world tries to shape it for you, and it will every day. You don't rise to your goals, you fall to your systems, you guys. We built systems. Number 7, we talked about becoming comfortable, becoming comfortable, becoming uncomfortable, or being uncomfortable. We leaned into discomfort. We said if it's scary, it's probably exactly where you need to go. If you're scared, that's where you got to go. Because growth does not live in comfort. Discomfort is the doorway to everything you say you want. So we talked about stop avoiding it, start inviting it into your life. We redefined fear as the signal that you're on the edge of evolution. Comfort zones are invisible prisons, you guys. They keep you in prison. They keep you from going where you want to go. And every breakthrough in your life will require breaking out of one. I want to rewire your relationship with discomfort. Instead of resisting it, chase it. Because the people who succeed most are the ones with less fear. They're the ones who have trained themselves to act in spite of it. Your future life is in the uncomfortable conversations, the scary investments, the scary conversations, the big ask, the people on your chicken list, stretching out what you think your capacity is. Get addicted to feeling it's a compass pointing you towards growth. And then we talked about the victim mentality. We confronted the inner victim, the one that makes excuses. You guys know it exists. I do it all the time. I catch myself doing it, or my wife catches me doing it, or my daughter catches me doing it because I've given them permission. We blame other people, waiting for someone to rescue you. But I hope we crushed that version of you and replaced it with ownership, with power, with truth, that you are the creator, not the casualty. Because victims wait, you guys, leaders build. We have to kill the victim. We have to kill that voice that says it's not fair. I can't. I'll try, but it's too late. But she doesn't support me. They didn't support me. Those are all the things in the back of our head that are being said all the time just to let ourselves off. Take ownership, take responsibility. Because the moment you stop blaming other people, looking in the mirror, blaming your past, blaming your upline, blaming the lack of time, I'm tired, I don't have energy, you're going to become dangerous. You're going to become a creator. If you want to build a kingdom, you can't if you're thinking like a captive person. And then we talked about setting unrealistic expectations, brother. I know this one hit home for many of you. This is the toughest one of the 10 to change. It's tough because it's a habit that is just ingrained in us from a child. We have so much frustration that comes from unmet expectations. And it's crazy because most of those are unspoken or unfair. We release the need to expect people to show up the way we would. That's where expectations come from. what would I do? Why aren't they doing what I would do? Instead, let's take full ownership of our expectations and let go of the emotional roller coaster that comes from over attaching to other people's performance. Because that's what you're looking at. Your husband, your kids, it's all about performance. Most of your suffering doesn't come from reality, guys. It comes from unmet, unspoken, and unrealistic expectations. So don't outsource your peace to other people's behavior. Instead, why don't you look within, take responsibility for your energy and your focus? Because this is the deal, guys. This is the truth. And it sucks. But you gotta realize this. People are going to fail you 99% of the time. But that's not the problem. The problem is expecting them to be you. And when you realize that, everything will change because there's only one you. And leadership is loving people exactly the way they are. But I have to say, that doesn't mean you have to lower your standards to match their inconsistencies. And then number 10, lean into failure. Because I want to rebrand failure. Failure is feedback. It's the tuition that you have to pay to become a master. If you're not failing, you're playing small. You're hiding. You're avoiding growth. You should fail fast, fail forward, and fail loudly. Share your failures. Help other people not make the same mistake, especially on your team, especially your kids. I talk to my daughter all the time about my failures. She's always scared to mess up or fail. I have a conversation daily with her. I was like, baby, it's okay. But you're not going to be mad? No, I'm never going to be mad. Ever. The only thing that will ever make me mad and really piss me off is if you lie to me. Nothing else will make me mad. Because all we have to do is just pick up the lesson and keep moving. When you stop moving and you stop taking action, that's when it goes horrible. And we ended with one of the most liberating lessons of all in my life. We flipped the script on failure. We stopped hiding from it. We started harvesting it and we made it safe to fail forward. You need to let people fail. You need to let your kids fail. You need to let your husband fail. You need to let your friends fail. You need to let your team fail. Because they don't fail. They only lose when they stop. You only regret what you never attempted. And you only succeed when you're willing to fail more than most people are willing to even try. So just lean in and lean in hard. So now I want to give this time to you guys for anything that you want more clarification on, any specific questions, any area that you may be struggling with that you want to talk about. One of my favorite sessions with you guys over this 8 weeks was when we talked about your biggest fears. And people started sharing about their biggest fears. And I kind of coached a couple of you through that. And I would like to like duplicate that. Even it could be a win. If you want to share a win so other people could actually hear about that win. Because I want to make this time about you guys. And I want you guys to be bold and not worry about anybody judging you because this is I've said this before, but I'm gonna be a little nicer with this. But if somebody is judging you, I usually just hold up my middle finger because that's how I feel towards people that judge. Because no one can judge on this planet except for one person, and that's when we die. So please don't be worried. Don't worry about that. I mean, I want to take this as because the thing is whenever you're sharing a win or you're sharing something that you're not comfortable with, what that does is it helps other people that are nervous to speak in public or nervous to share. So I would like to any question, anything that we talked about in the 8 weeks, you guys can raise your hand, put it in the chat if you don't want to get on here and say anything, but I want to make sure that this time, this last class is for you guys. So again, raise your hand and I'm happy to go through any of those questions or anything that you might be struggling with or something that you even want to debate me on, that I taught or that I'm going on in my life. I don't care. I just want to have a conversation with you guys today and not do all the talking. So who wants to be the first? I know Chad. Um, Chad had a conversation with me in Punta Mita. It was a really good conversation around, scheduling and stuff like that. So anything like that, Chad, if you have something, or Shannon, I know you've shared a couple times. Go ahead, Chad.
So I got it.
Awesome.
So my question is, as I started going through it, it covers every page is basically what we just covered in the last 8 weeks, right?
Yep.
And it's about setting the schedule, what I do by 1%, all that kind of stuff. So uh my excuse right now is we're in the middle of the move. I'm in my new office, there's boxes everywhere. We're
I
trying
thought your
to
background looked different.
Yeah, the background is white. We haven't done anything yet, so I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put a picture back there, or I'm gonna go when a professional background's made that just come in, Chad Barvanda Associates. I haven't decided yet. But anyway, uh, it came apart. So anyway, I mean, this is quite a commitment to do every page of this.
No, so just so you know, those pages are the 9 questions you're going to ask yourself every.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you where that idea came from, Chad. Is I had a mentor, and he just told me to journal every day, and I was like, okay, well, what do I journal? And he was like, well, whatever the heck you feel like journaling. And I was like, but so I'm just going to open a book, and then what if I don't have anything in my mind? And so I just started thinking about the things as I was writing this book and the questions that I asked myself and what I journal about every day. And like we talked about accountability partners, that is a self accountability. And what I do every day, if you see my book, it's every day. It's the first thing that I do because it sets my day. And I just ask those questions to myself. And it helps me be grateful to people. And I have to call 3 people every day. So who are the 3 people that you're grateful for? And did you tell them? You can be grateful for someone, but no one even knows, and so who cares? Like it makes me feel good that I'm grateful for someone. But when you call someone and say, Monica, I'm just so grateful for your friendship and your ability to be coachable, and I love the conversation that we had the other day. Just that short thing, and then those questions for me, what are two goals today that I'm going to do? And my goals, that question, what are 2 goals that I'm going to accomplish today, are the 2 things on my calendar that I don't want to do. And so it makes me do them because tomorrow I'm going to ask myself that question, and then I start to feel like a loser. It's like, dude, what are you
Right.
doing? Like these questions are here again today. So that's the reason I go there. So that takes me, Chad, about 15 minutes to go through and answer those questions, maybe shorter. So that's the only commitment. As the book was broken down, it's broken down into 4 quarters. So it's
Yeah.
a book for a year.
Yeah.
So you go through, set your why, because it could change in a quarter, set your snowflake, set your goals on the GPS. And then that way you're just going through it and opening it up every single day, Chad, will help you hit the goals that you need to hit because you're just self-accountability.
Okay, that's fine. So it's a good way to start the journaling process because I don't journal.
Yeah, and I didn't
Never
either.
had,
I
never
had no idea
have,
what, yep. And
not the
so
right.
also what it's a history book for
Yes.
you. And
Yes.
you'll see your progress as you go through
Yeah.
the book. And then what I do, I have 3 of them already because I've had one for 3 years, and I have a date in them on the edge of it.
Yeah.
And I just see it as my kids having it one day and it being in my mind when I'm
Right.
not here anymore. They can
Yeah.
go through that book and just say, huh, what was my dad's thought process in 2021? Where
Yeah.
was he at in 2022? And when you read through it, it's like you're writing a book. It's
Right.
your evolution of wherever you're going. So that was also the idea of it. Every book that's on my shelf has a date on it that I've read. And I hope my kids take my library one day and be like, damn, my dad read this book back in 2019. Let me read this book. This is cool.
Yeah.
So that's the whole point of me building a library is just so that they can see what made me think the way that I thought.
You can't see mine because my wall, like you, is bombed out. It's sort of left of me. The office is not big enough to put it behind me, so it sits to the left of it. So there's a big shelving unit similar to yours sitting. I'm looking at it right now, and we're slowly filling it up.
Yeah.
But anyway,
But Chad, I really, on a serious note, man, I mean, you and I had some really good conversations in Destin, and you're a very successful, smart man. I mean, the conversations that we had and just you showing up on here and even, Chad, I think you're 60. I mean, he's in great shape, got biceps like
63.
crazy. 63 and he's
Yeah.
still learning. Like, so for everybody out here that's super young, I mean, he's still like trying to implement and execute things in his life at 63, still has goals, still wants to be successful in other areas of his life. Like, I completely respect the heck out of that, Chad, that you do that. And I'm honored that you're here with me because you've had success in your life. You don't need to really change if you didn't want to at this point in your life, but you want to evolve. And I just respect the hell out of that. So thank you for being here. You've
With this,
inspired me and you make me want to make sure I give everything in these classes. Not that everybody doesn't, but just after having a conversation with you, Chad, just it's like this guy's really, really successful and he's showing up. And the fact that you guys all showed up to this says a whole lot about you.
this has just been a good training. I mean, I've done a lot of stuff in the past, but it's been a long time since I have. So now I'm mature enough to understand and appreciate what I should have done years ago, but that's the past. So it's time to move forward. So
Yep.
this came at a good time in my life outside the move, to re-engage and restart over along with LifeWave and other stuff that I have going on too. So thank you for your time that you committed to us for doing that. So
Absolutely, man. It was my pleasure. I enjoy this.
yeah.
Anybody else? Do you have any other questions? If you have any questions, Chad, you just text me.
Yeah.
Or email me or whatever. Send me a DM on Instagram. My team will see it and make sure I get to it. So if you have anything as you're going through it and any
Okay.
tips or tricks on how I use mine, I mean, I built it. I honestly built that book for me first, and then I was like, I need to put this out. And even the daily quotes. I read a daily quote online every day. I mean, if you guys follow me on social media, there's a daily quote every day in Spanish and English. So I mean, that's just something big in my life. And then I quote the quote. So whatever the quote is, I just quote based on how it made me feel to give you
Right.
guys just a daily quote. So every page at the top has a quote on the top of that day.
What do you go under on Instagram? Are you on Instagram or what do you
Yeah,
go?
I'm on Instagram, J Atkins 3.
J Atkins 3? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Three's my lucky number. I have three daughters. That was my number in all sports that I played. So that's why it's J Atkins 3.
Okay. Got it.
Anybody else? Go ahead, Shannon. You guys can just unmute. You guys have the permission to unmute.
Okay. Hi, guys. All right. So I have three questions, and
Okay.
then I'm going to share my loss win. And the only reason I'm going to share my loss win is because there's not very many people on here today. That's why. Okay. So if you're trying to pitch to somebody in another country and you don't know their language, how do you do that?
Um, Give me more details.
Okay, so like I have a lot of Korean friends and like they have friends like obviously in Korea, but they're like, "Oh, my friend would be really interested," but they don't want to interpret for me. So I'm like, "How do I get past that? Like how do I reach out to someone who cannot speak English, but like is there like a link that you can be like, this is in Korean, boom."
ChatGPT is an
Oh, okay.
amazing is an
Try
amazing
that.
if you want to communicate with people. It's
Uh,
the best one out there for translation. So you can just I would go out and pay for the paid app on ChatGPT, which is $20 a month, which is
oh,
nothing. And then
okay.
you could just say at the beginning of the chat, like this is how I communicate in Spanish, is I just go in and say, can you translate to Spanish? And then you can voice memo it even in ChatGPT, and then it'll give
Mm,
you a pretty perfect translation
okay.
in Korean. And then if they're interested, what I would say is you guys see my interpreter on here. She has an interpretation company. She could probably find someone for you that can interpret in Korean and you can do a group call. Like if it were me, I would get, three, four, five people on a group call and then get simultaneous interpretation and then they can hear you in Korean.
Oh, okay. Good. That's good.
Um,
Uh,
can I
oh, go
share
ahead. Yeah, go, Tina.
on This Is It team page, you can also change the language and Korean is available. So you can change it all to Korean and they can look at that at the page.
Oh, and then send it your link in
Mhm.
Korean. Oh,
No,
good.
no, no. You send the info from that team page.
No, This Is It team website.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You
Okay,
can
I'll write
change
that
it
down.
to like 62 different languages.
Oh, well, who knew? Tina did. Okay, 62 languages. All right. Okay, so Jay, you said every morning you pick three people to call. How'd you pick them?
Just based on my heart that day when I woke up, what was I grateful for? So like, I mean,
Mm,
this is where the thinking comes in, right? When you journal, what it does is it stimulates thinking, right? So
yeah,
when I look at that question every day and it says, who are the three people you're grateful for, and did you tell them? So it could be a business partner, it could be my daughter, right? It could be the day before she just made me smile because she like last night, she came into my office and surprised me and said, Poppy, I want to read with you, right? She's just turned 7 years old, and she brought me the most difficult book in her library, and I was like, oh, we're gonna read this. And so this morning, I went in the house and I told her, I said, I'm so grateful that you're my daughter. And she was like, why do you say that? Like it was just out of
hmm
left field, right? And I was like, just because you're so smart and I'm just so proud of you. And I can't believe I'm lucky enough to be your dad. And it just like changed her whole day, which changed my day, And then I have a
yeah.
good friend that's coming to Miami this weekend. And, he's making a special trip down here. He hasn't seen me in a couple years. And this morning I just called him and I said, hey, I'm just so grateful for your friendship. And he was like, and when you do this, people are shocked, right? Because most people
Yeah.
don't do this. And he's like, what made you do that? And I was like, I was just thinking about, you're going out of your way, buying a plane ticket, getting a hotel just to come down here and see me and my family. I said, how many friends actually do that? I'm just grateful for your friendship. You've always been such a great friend, right? And so when you do that with people, again, it gives you the time to have gratefulness in your heart. But when you
hmm
share it with people, so I just choose it based on that. Usually it's based on yesterday or the day before, someone that did something, a conversation that I had.
hmm
Usually when I give, the question, what did I give yesterday? I don't count giving anything as far as in monetary or money. I count giving as did I listen to somebody? Was I there for somebody? Did I do something for somebody at the gym? Like yesterday, some, older lady was in the gym and she, had no idea to how to use a piece of equipment. And I stayed there for 7 minutes and spotted her and showed her how to use a piece of equipment, where most people wouldn't do that, and I just did that because I wanted to give that to her. No one was
hmm
there helping her. So just that's the thing. Like when you ask these questions every day, you're aware. You're thinking about the things through the day. I mean, for me, they're 9 questions every single day. I know what goals every day I'm going to accomplish. I know when I accomplish them because it's going to be first thing. Anything that I put on my list, it's going to be the first thing I do that day because it's always the
Oh,
hardest thing that I'm going to do. So my 2 goals every single day are the 2 hardest things that I don't want to do that day, and I'm going to work on them first. And then I just, no matter what else happens in that day, I've accomplished those 2 major things in my day.
yeah. Okay,
So that's
that's
how I
pretty
pick
cool.
my gratefulness.
All right, that's awesome. So get the journal. Gotcha. Um, Follow up.
You don't
How
have
do
to
you?
listen. I'm not trying to sell journals, you guys. Like
No,
I
no,
just want
no,
you to know,
no.
like you could write these questions down. I've given them to you guys, and you could create your own journal and a notebook. It's just for me, I just created it because it's just something that people could keep on their desk and remind them, every day when they wake up or on their living room table or whatever it is. Just that's the first thing you do when you get up in the morning. And like Chad has a point. I mean, it's overwhelming and it's a new habit. But I promise you, when you create this new habit, things will change in your life like you've never seen. This one little simple thing of just writing these things down every day. And then your kids will ask you, your husband's going to ask you, what are you doing? And then he's going to start to see, like that. My wife, she was like, you do that every day. And now she does it every day,
Yeah,
because she just makes her feel amazing. It sets that vibration and that energy in your soul that just makes you a better person.
yeah. Well, I just meant, don't go get your book. Go get your book, but just
Yeah.
journal. Okay.
I mean,
Um,
Lola, you could put it in the chat so people could find it easily in Spanish and English, the book or the journal, if you want to put those in the chat. I mean, but again, you guys, I'm not here to sell books. I mean, I don't make any money off the books because I it's a published book. And if you guys know about published books, the publisher makes all the money, and they just market it and distribute it for me, which is all I wanted. I just didn't want to have a bunch of books in my garage and me have to like send them off myself. But go ahead, Shannon.
okay. Sorry, if somebody else wants to bump in, bump me off, okay? When is follow up too much between like bugging a person and follow up? Like, where's that line, you
So
know?
Shannon, you have a lot of great questions. So follow up for me is I never follow up on the business, I follow up on people. And what I mean by that exactly is when I follow up with someone, I'm always going to follow up with them to ask them how they're doing in their life, right? So from one conversation to the next, even if we've talked about LifeWay, because the way that I get into conversations with people, I don't talk about the business first. The way I get into conversations about what I'm doing is I figure out what they're doing right now and what they like and they don't like about what they're doing.
Mm.
So I'm always going to say, hey, you still here? You still here? Or if I don't know who they are, I'm going to ask them what they do for a living. I'm always going to get into the conversation that way because that's people's identity. And then they're going to naturally ask me what I'm doing. So now if I'm doing that again, I follow up and I don't start off with a patch. I don't start off with that. I'm just, hey, how's life? Where you guys going on summer vacation this year? Last time we talked about your job, you were struggling with this part of it. Like, did you work that out? Like, so I'm always going to make notes on every conversation on my calendar because I'm going to move it
Yeah.
on my calendar. Every person has a calendar. If I talk to you, I'm going to move it out 60 days. It's going to show up on my calendar again, and I'm going to call you in 60 days and just say, hey, I was thinking about you. And the last time we talked, you said this.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to get into a conversation, and they're going to say to me, if I brought up the patch, hey, how's that patch thing going?
Yeah.
And then I'm going to say, oh my God, it's going amazing. Like
Yeah.
I never thought it was going to be this good, right? So I'm going to get into the
Mm.
conversation, but I'm not going to get in the conversation unless they ask me about it. Because if I do, the next time I call them, they're not going to take my call
That's
because
true.
they know that I'm calling them for the patch and not calling to get to know them or have a conversation.
Mm.
So that's why I don't. Now, if it's someone in the gym, again, I'm not going to lead in with the patch ever. I'm never going to follow up with someone and say, "Hey, just want to see what you think about the patch. You're going to join the business. You want to be as a customer." Well, that's where the mistake comes in with people.
Mm.
So if it means I got to see the guy in the gym 3 more times before he brings it up, then I'm going to wait 3 more times, but I'm not going to be the sales guy in the gym. Now,
Mm.
I will find a way to bring it up how well it's working with me. If he doesn't bring it up, I'm like, dude, did I tell you the most recent thing that this patch has done for me? And then it'll evolve. But I just don't think follow-up is effective if you're trying to follow up with a point of selling all the time. Now, if
Yeah.
you're strategic in your follow-up, I think it's different.
Ah, okay. I think a few people put questions in the chat. So
Okay.
next
But
person.
what I want to say, Shannon, to you too,
Yeah.
is and I don't mean this in any derogatory or negative way, okay?
Yeah.
You just got to be careful when you talk about women and men. The rules are a little different with women when you're talking to people, okay?
Yeah.
You guys have more grace and you have more ninja in you when you're talking about, different things in your life. So if Chad or I are following up with someone, we go immediately to the patch, we're salespeople. But if you guys bring it up and you guys can throw it in there a little bit, it's not going to come off the same from you or Tina or Lucia. Like it's not going to come off the same. So I would say maybe you could be a little bit more pushy, just not in the beginning. For me,
Mm.
it's just like, oh, this guy's trying to sell this product. But women, my wife, all day long can do it and talk to people about it. And she just has a way of putting it out there where it's not salesy because you guys are just little ninjas when it comes to selling. And so I would just say leverage your ninja and just bring it up because you could try to be salesy all day, Shannon, you're not going to be. People are not going to be
True.
offended by you. They're just not. Let me see what else is in the chat here. It says, how do you become a better leader for your team? Great questions, by the way, Shannon. Every time you spoke, you've had great questions and great input. So even your fear question was really good. How do you become a better leader for your team? Um, I would say the best way to become a leader is to lead by example. Um, it is the first and best way to become a better leader. Lead by example so people see you doing what you would want them to do. And second, back in 2005, I had 25 employees quit on me at one time. I came back from Spain on a Christmas and New Year's trip with my friends. I bought all my employees gifts, and the very next day, I got 25 resignations. And that when that happened, I knew it wasn't them, it was me. And so I had to start reading leadership books and start understanding. And I would tell you, one of the best leadership gurus out there is John Maxwell. He has a lot of great leadership books. If you are struggling in the leadership area, start reading those books. But also, I would say, lead by example. If you want people on your team to do certain things, then you should do the exact same things that you would want them to do, and that's going to help you become a better leader, and people will follow you. If you're a dictator, no one wants a dictator. People want to be inspired. People want to follow an example. Do you have a system to keep up with team members and customers? Um, so the system that I use is Go High Level. It's a paid CRM system that you can. It's not super expensive, but everyone goes into our Go High Level system, and you could get the information from LifeWave in an Excel spreadsheet, and then we just put that in Go High Level so that we can text and email and WhatsApp and communicate with people through our system if we want to follow up with customers or we want to follow up with prospects. So that is the system that we have to manage our business. Someone said Chad is awesome. He is awesome.
Jay,
Yes, ma'am.
what do you mean by you put stuff from LifeWave into the Go High Level system?
Because you could download a CVS, so you can run a CVS from a LifeWave system, and then you can download the CVS and Go High Level,
Okay.
so that you have all of your information of your customers, like your email, phone number, address, their contact information. That way, like if we're having a big meeting on our team, we can also communicate with them through there in mass.
Okay.
It's really hard to communicate with mass through LifeWave
Mhm.
or through their system. So it just enables us to be able to communicate with people, through Telegram, through WhatsApp, through email. So it helps us scale and do things a lot faster. And as this team grows, and we have 20,000 people on our team now, hope to have, 2 million in 3 years. So 2 million people, we just want to start off and make sure that we have a database that we can communicate with people, not onesies and twosies,
Okay.
with important information coming out.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Um, let's see. Someone asked what are the order at 10. You guys, I would just say I just want to make sure I can get to questions, but um just if you rewatch it, if I have some time, I have a hard stop at 4 o'clock because my interpreter has another meeting right after this, so she's made it very clear that I have to be off here at 4 o'clock. So Monica, go ahead.
Okay. Quick. I know to me it's a stupid question. I know you're gonna say there's
No
no
such
stupid
thing as a
question,
stupid
but
question. Only
I have
question
been
that's the only question that's stupid is one that's not asked.
okay. I have been struggling with the part of getting your number. So I go backwards, then I go forward, then I go back, and I'm like, there should be a technical thing. All obviously, your number is so personal that it's only your number. But if you haven't made your first million in your life, isn't it coherent to think about 10 million? Isn't there's a way to make it more coherent and doable? Obviously, probably everybody wants the first 1 million or the first 10 million, but isn't it wrong to set up your number super low because that's the first step before getting to your million, or is that stupid or what?
So no, it's a great question, Monica. So your number starts with how much would you like to make every single month that would make you feel like you're living the life of your dreams. Okay. So just thinking about that number, right? Not where you are, but what number, like if you sat down, like, you know what, if I made $10,000 a month, that would make me feel like I'm living the life of my dreams. Because right now I'm making three, and 10,000, I could drive the car I want. I could get the, brand new Honda Civic if I want to. I could, buy the $250,000 house that I want to live in. That would pay for all my bills. But you have to think about, like, what is it? What would your expenses be? So if 10,000 is the number, then you got to add 33% to that, right? So it's 13,300 that we have to make every single month. So that gives me a base point, right? So I'm making 3,000. What do I need to do to make 13,300? Well, I have a day job. Well, maybe I should do LifeWave with Monica. Or maybe I should do this. Or so showing, just getting that question out there. Not that people are like, 13,000, I'd love to make 13,000, but it'll never happen. But I have a solution for you, right? So that's another reason why I ask people their number, because if you think you can't do it, you're exactly right. There's nothing I can say. So it just opens up that conversation. So when people say, how am I going to make an extra 10,000? I have a couple opportunities right now that you could make at least three or four or $5,000 extra a month. Might take you 6 months, 7 months, but I could show you some ways. right? So the number is like getting them to the point of dream. Remember, it's a magic wand. Okay, this is a dream number. Not you haven't made your first million, but what would you like to make every single month that would make you feel like you're living the life of your dreams? Then when they have that number, then I ask them another intriguing question. Your two most important numbers. How much money would you like to have in your bank account that would make you feel like I'm good? If I don't work another day, I'm taken care of for the rest of my life. And so the reason I ask this question is because nobody knows those numbers. And then when they think about those numbers, they say 5 million. Then I help them do the math. Okay, so if you have 5 million in the bank at 5% return, how much is that going to pay you every single year? Right? So it's easy math. So 5% on a half a million, 5% on $1 million would pay $500,000. I'm sorry, $50,000, right? Am I doing that math right? Now I'm questioning myself. No. 5 million times 5% would pay $250,000 a year. But the government's going to take 20% of that, right? Minus 20% equals 200, no, 250 minus 20% is they're going to take 50 grand. So 200,000 divided by 12 equals $16,000 a month. So the person that says, I want to make 10 grand a month, 5 million would get them there. But maybe they don't need 5 million in the bank. Maybe it's just 3.5 million that's going to get them to the $10,000 a month. So that's just helping people figure out because now I want people to have financial literacy and I want people to save money. So when you're making money, like, so now that we got to that $10,000 a month I'd like to make, how much of that are you going to save? How are you going to get to the $3.5 million in the bank account? So you're just giving people a plan, but also we have a plan, we have an opportunity that's going to get them there. So that's another reason why I ask people this question is because I want them to know, like, if you do these things, you're going to get there. But I just want to give value to people. But it's really interesting when you get people to think. And the world, you guys, as Tina and I was talking, the world doesn't respond to what you know. It responds to who you are, Tina. And I'm telling you, the energy that you have, the energy that comes out of you and is exposed to the world, you just have to show up like that every day. All of you have to just show up. It's based on how you think, how you lead, and how you move when nobody is watching, right? Just because you're not in front of people doesn't mean you could be hard on yourself and be like, this is not me. I'm trying to figure out my number. This doesn't match. Like you have to just be living that and when you're by yourself and when you're not. And that's how you train your brain. So today I'm going to challenge you guys to be relentless in your follow through. The follow through of this, the follow through of a new version of you. To live louder than your fear. When you're fearful, speak it out loud, but then go do something. Turn every single failure into fuel to build a life that demands a legacy. Again, you guys have the blueprint. Now it's time to build because at the end of the day, success does not go to the smartest. I promise you, because I am definitely not the smartest person. I can guarantee you that. I didn't even graduate college. I don't have a diploma. I was 3 years into college and I was building a business. I was going to go back and get my degree. My mentor told me, what are you doing? And I said, I just want to have a degree. And he was like, for what? For your clients? Just read books. That's a way better degree than a degree that you're getting from a formal college. You're going to waste your time getting a degree versus building your business. Why would you want to invest 3 hours every night in a degree versus 3 hours in your business? Where are you going to be? Success doesn't go to the most talented. It doesn't, you guys. There's a lot of people in the NFL, the NBA, professional sports, singers, artists. They're not the most talented. They were just the most committed. So I want to just go make history. That's what I want to do. And I want to do it with you guys. I want to do it with people that want to join this. Let's go make history. Let's make history for our families. The people that didn't expect you were going to win, let's go show them we're going to win. And let that fuel you. Let that proving to someone, proving to your kids, proving to your husband, whoever it is that's doubting you. You can doubt me. But then let them just watch your actions. Don't even speak about it. When you speak about it, it means nothing. people like to see actions, people like to see results. And when they start to see the results, that's when they start to change. My wife thought I was crazy when I started going through all this process. She's been a part of it. She's been in my life through this transformation. Like I was doing a lot of little things, but not to this extent that I taught you guys. And she used to make fun of me. And I just stopped talking about it. And guess what? Guess who's along the journey with me? Guess who never questions anything that I'm doing for my health, my wealth, my mind, nothing? My wife. I don't say anything anymore. All she does is she just watches and she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm doing." Well, why didn't you tell me about it? Because I know I don't tell her, I show her. And that's what we have to do. We have to show the world. We have to show people what we're going to do. And again, you guys, this has been a blast. It's been all of my honor and glory to do this with you guys. And I just appreciate the ones that have tuned in and the ones that have been engaged. And, I know we're going to see each other more, and I would love to hear your success stories. I would love to hear your journey. You guys can DM me on social media at any time. Lola will manage it, make sure that I get the message and get back to you guys or talk to you guys. So, and Monica, you're friends of the family, so we get to see and talk to you all the time. So that's great as well. And I hope we're all friends for a long time. No matter what happens, I hope that I can be in your life in some kind of capacity and we can all be friends. So thank you guys so much for your time, and I'll see you guys around very, very soon. Thanks for all your vulnerability, your honesty. It was amazing, Tina, and I know big things are in your future. I know, I feel it. So have
Thank
a
you.
great day, you guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.